Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us here in the room and also on the live stream for today's conversation, which speaks to an issue that strikes at the heart of the UNFCCC process, whether this space can still hold, whether the space can still hold space for truth, justice, and moral clarity. Over the last 2 years, civil society observers have witnessed a troubling rise in systematic censorship, particularly in relation to peaceful expressions of solidarity with the Palestinian people. This week, the UNFCCC demanded the removal of the phrase "end the siege" from a planned civil society action highlighting the catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza. Our cross-constituency panel brings together those who've not only witnessed but actively resisted this silencing. I'm joined by Rachita Gupta, Gina Cortez Valderrama, Hajar Al-Batalji, and Jacobo Ocharan. And Rachita, if I can invite you to go first, please.
Thank you. I'm speaking today as members of the Global Campaign to Demand Climate Justice, representing frontline communities, grassroots movements, and Global South peoples who have fought tirelessly for justice across borders. That fight includes standing for Palestinian liberation. Enough is enough. For the past 2 years, the UNFCCC Secretariat has tried to silence our movement's unwavering solidarity with Palestine. We have been censored, edited, erased, while a genocide unfolds in Gaza. Let's not pretend this is about procedure. This is political. The UNFCCC Secretariat is choosing to censor words like genocide, occupation, and siege, as Israel starves, bombs, and massacres an entire population. We have had to fight to say the truth that what is happening in Palestine is not a conflict. It's not complicated. It is apartheid. It is colonialism. It is genocide. And we will not let UNFCCC Secretariat sanitize that reality. We have used this space not because we believe in its legitimacy, but because we know we must bring people's struggles into every arena of power. We have organized press conferences, statements, interventions. We have marched in the halls, shouted in plenaries, and stood side by side with our Palestinian comrades. But each time, the UNFCCC Secretariat has met us with shameful repression. They have forced us to defend our language, to erase the truth, to negotiate over words while people are being slaughtered. And yet, they continue to parade civil society like a badge of honor, taking photos of our actions, using our resistance to paint themselves as open and progressive. They sell an image of diverse participation while actively crushing the political heart of what we say. Let's be very clear. This space is not open. This space is not progressive. This space does not serve the people. We know the process of UNFCCC is captured by fossil fuel interests, by powerful governments, by those who profit of war, occupation, and climate collapse. It has become a stage for greenwashing and elite diplomacy, while frontline voices are managed, monitored, and muzzled. This week, they tried it again. They told us our slogans had to be changed, that we could not use the word siege, that genocide is too political, too offensive. Offensive to who? Offensive to which government? We are done negotiating. We are done watering down the horror. We are done justifying our grief. We are done asking permission to speak. You do not get to silence the voices of Global South peoples, those who have survived colonization, war, displacement, and the violence of climate injustice, and then hold up our photos that we are part of your success story. And to the governments who voted at the UN General Assembly for a ceasefire, where are you now? Why are you silent while this process silences us? Your votes mean nothing if your silence upholds censorship. We say this now with full force. We will not be complicit. We will not play by your rules. We will not let genocide be treated like an uncomfortable topic. And we will never stop saying, "Free Palestine." This is not just about solidarity, it is about liberation, it is about dismantling every system that allows apartheid to survive. It is about fighting for a world where colonizers don't get to hide behind climate diplomacy. There is no climate justice on occupied land. There is no climate justice under apartheid. There is no climate justice without Palestine liberation. Thank you.
And now Gina Cortez Valderrama, please, Gina.
Thank you so much. Today I'm speaking on behalf of the Women and Gender Constituency, a collective of feminists, women, gender non-conforming people, Afro-descendant, campesinas, indigenous women. We are told by the UNFCCC that we must argue why Palestinian liberation belongs in these conversations. Thousands of Palestinian sieged, starved, bombed, raped, tortured, murdered, massacred. And we are told by the UNFCCC that Palestinian siblings cannot even identify themselves and name things as they are, while we are all watching live the flames that extend and erase the people. The UNFCCC demands for argumentation around climate relevance, exposing its capture by the imperial interest. Censoring us to call things by their name is not protecting neutrality. It's protecting impunity. It prioritizes the conform of perpetrators over the survival of those that are being impacted. This is no neutrality. This is not what the Secretariat calls a constructive environment. This is censorship, cowardice, and the failure to understand the impacts of military occupation, siege warfare, and systematic environmental destruction. What we see instead is willful complicity that serves existing power structures, while we come here to raise our voices and being surveilled without protections and being canceled. When UN climate entities suppress language that names genocide, siege, occupation, they betray their own mandate. Climate justice demands that we name the systems that sacrifice both people and planet for the imperial control. Climate movements worldwide understand that UNFCCC refuses what UNFCCC leadership refuses to acknowledge. There is no climate justice without human rights, no environmental protection without ending militarism, no sustainable futures while genocide continues unchecked. Enough is enough. We reject that censorship dressed up as neutrality. Palestinian liberation is not under negotiation. It is not to be put for your reflection or your contemplation. The links between climate justice and Palestinian liberation are not theoretical or an intellectual exercise. They have been documented, they are undeniable, and they are systemic. The UN special rapporteurs have already made this connection explicit, recognizing the ongoing genocide and the environmental dimensions of the ecocide. Feminists have spent decades exposing how militarism intersects with environmental destruction. Our work has revealed what the UNFCCC refuses to acknowledge. The military-industrial complex is among the world's largest polluters. That go and see the news that have been recently shared, where the carbon footprint for Israel's genocide on Gaza exceeds 100 countries. And the world military expenditure last year was around $3 trillion. And we saw at the same time the failure of climate finance. So who is not understanding the connections? Who is not responding to the urgency of the world? And who is not serving the people that we have committed to serve here? These are not separate issues. Every bomb drop, every military base maintained, every weapon manufactured represents the carbon emissions that accelerate the climate breakdown. So how does the UNFCCC dare to accuse us of not speaking about climate, of not speaking about justice, of not speaking about what we are needing in these moments? Which interests are you serving? Who is giving you the orders in this hierarchy of power? Who is behind these decisions? Because something is clear. It is not us who have been failing the world. It is not us who have been shying away from the truth. To all UN climate entities, your credibility depends on your willingness, your commitment, and your actions to confront the systems driving both climate breakdown and human suffering. Stop demanding Palestinians to prove their worthiness for climate solidarity. Stop censoring languages that names the reality, and stop hiding behind the false neutrality while bombs are dropped and lives are erased, because enough, it's enough.
And now Hajar El-Beltaji from ANGRI, the Alliance of Non-Governmental Radical Youth. Hajar.
Thank you. Hello, I'm speaking today on behalf of ANGRI Alliance, Alliance of Non-Governmental Radical Youth. 500,000 Palestinians starving, 2.1 million at critical risk of famine. Nearly half of them are children, and we're not allowed to say siege. Within the halls of the United Nations, we're not allowed to say, this must end. We must call out all actors complicit with this genocide going on and unfolding in Palestine. And unfortunately, does not only include states, companies, but also includes UN agencies. 2 days ago, we were told that within these halls, we cannot say end the siege because it's inappropriate. Because according to the UNFCCC, objecting the enforced starvation of Palestinian children is not politically sensitive enough, not related enough to climate. How many times must we explain that colonialism and climate injustice are inseparable? How many times we must explain before you understand that the white supremacy is killing us? Every year at these climate negotiations, we discuss the justice in terms of water, agriculture, and state sovereignty to ensure their own people are fed. But how does this manifest under a siege? How in this context we still ignore that we speak about millions of Palestinians starving under a siege that did not even start within this genocide, but rather started decades ago. By the way, other UN bodies have named the siege of what it is, and they have called for humanitarian aid to enter Gaza. Yet, within the UNFCCC, a UN agency that should demand our gratitude for its liberal attitude towards protest and advocacy, we are still forbidden to do the same. Our action and voices are not being censored here. Climate justice movements are rooted in the pursuits of peace and security. But there can no peace without liberation. And liberation cannot be achieved without an inclusive civic space that protects freedom, speech for all. As a youth group, we're not here because we believe this liberal world order or consensus-based system will save us. This master tools will not break down the master's house, but at the critical point of facing erasure against the system that seeks to eradicate the people's resistance, we must show up and we must disrupt. So let us be very clear. UNFCCC Secretariat has failed the youth groups. It has failed the people that it meant to serve. But we will not give up the satisfaction of censoring ourselves. We will remain here to call you out. and we will actively recalling the space. This is rightfully ours. End the siege, end the genocide, and free Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you, Hajar. And now Jacobo Ocharan from Climate Action Network International.
So, hi, good afternoon, everybody. Good morning. I don't know exactly when we are. So a red line was crossed yesterday, okay? A red line was crossed yesterday by the UNFCCC. They love this, that much to put us imaginary lines on the floor when we have our actions, okay? But yesterday, we say enough, as my colleagues are saying, okay? They took an arbitrary measure that we have been already explained. We took an arbitrary measure just to show power, just to abuse of power. We are in a context that where we cannot say free Palestine, where we cannot talk about the siege, where we cannot talk about the genocide. We're in a context where in an action, a Palestinian cannot self-identify as a Palestinian, okay? We are in a context when cannot identify as a Palestinian in times where they are trying to erase them from the face of the earth. In times of a genocide, a person, a Palestinian, cannot be saying here, my name is this, I'm Palestinian. And this is all happening because UNFCCC, we have the feeling that is living in a bubble. It's living in a bubble, not just on what is happening, as we've been saying, in Palestine, but in a bubble that they don't listen even to their partners, their bosses in the UN. How many times we have heard from UN that this is a siege, that this is a genocide. And they tell us that we cannot say that it is what it is. So in this context, as I say, we say this is enough, and this is what we are standing all together to say, you have really crossed this red line. The question obviously is why this is happening, and I mean, the same powers that they are creating the climate crisis, the same powers that they are fueling the fossil fuels party, the same powers that they are denying finance to those that they are suffering the most the climate crisis, are the same powers that they are perpetrating this genocide, and the same powers that they are trying to silence us. They are exactly the same people, and we know who they are. They are trying to silence civil society, and no, we are not going to allow it. Okay, so on this claim of justice for Palestine, for I cannot say better, for all our brothers and sisters that they are in Palestinian land, we are going to keep fighting together. We are not going to allow nobody but UNFCCC in this context to stop us of saying, stop the genocide, end the siege, free Palestine, viva Palestina libre.
Thank you, Jacobo. We do have time for hopefully one or two questions. Can I invite questions from the audience? Would somebody like to ask a question? Lady at the back, if you can just say your name and identify which organisation you're from and keep your question brief, please.
Thank you. I'm from a small organisation in the UK, Tipping Point North-South. We work on military emissions, military spending, climate change, climate finance. This ridiculous firewall that there is between what happens at the UN, Security Council, Guterres, it's being called out, and what goes on here at the UNFCCC. I'm just wondering whether, can there be some kind of boycott inside? Could we be encouraging countries, allies, friends of Palestine, to bring about some kind of boycott of Israel towards the COP, number one. I just want to say something about Israel's military spending. They were the 15th largest spender before the genocide, at $24 billion a year. They're spending $46 billion in the last year. That explains the scale of the devastation. And just to mention one thing about Iran, Iran's military spending fell last year to just under 10 billion. So the human consequences of what they're doing, the environmental, Gaza is devastated environmentally as a result of this genocide. And so if there's any way that we can bring some kind of boycott language focus to the COP around Israel, Israel are embedded in EU defense planning.
Who would you like to direct the question to?
I just want to say NATO are waiting to join the IPCC. They're in line to join the IPCC. So this is quite...
Who would you like to direct the question to?
Anybody that wishes to take it up.
Who'd like to
Thank you.
Anybody like to answer on the boycott, the idea of a boycott? Agobo.
Oops, so just to be clear, the question is if we want to boycott Israel, just to make it short, in here, we are moving, and we are, well, I mean, we've been moving for the beginning of the genocide a long time, and I think we are, civil society organizations, we are the one that we are taking all the different possible actions, sometimes forcing, as you may know, on previous years, forcing situations that they are, we have in debate, and so we are really putting the. But of course, I mean, it is not our presence here what is valuable. What is important is to be sure that we are contributing to the end of the genocide and to pointing out Israel. So yes, we keep working. We keep staying together, and this is what we are doing now. I think that what we have done today, I think it's an important step of saying, this is enough. We are coming with all our capacity to make it public. Okay, so and we will not surrender.
I would like to stand on something, and is that here we are not talking about only the emissions and whatever impacts it is. What we are also making a statement here is on how the UNFCCC Secretariat, those that are coordinating, those that are back of the logistics, those that are connecting with the peoples, those that should be intermediaries and also be holding space for connecting the different parties and civil society that are here, are also hiding behind these narratives of neutrality, behind this narrative of reflection, and how the same stuff from the UNFCCC is perpetuating those dynamics of censorship. And what we are not understanding then is, to whom are we speaking to? Are we speaking to the UNFCCC Secretariat? Are we speaking who is behind as well these different loads of orders to censor and limit our voices here? This is something that is very, very, very concerning in a moment in which the trust to the multilateral space is put in proof. In a moment in which we also cannot continue to perpetuate as well this play or show play of rules that are just a negotiation around semantic. And this is something that goes beyond that. This is something deeper that goes beyond the narratives, because what we are, this is, as Rachita was saying, this is highly political, and we have to put a zoom into the structures that are within the UNFCCC to perpetuate these dynamics. And this is what we are also calling out today, and this is what we said, enough is enough of that complicity.
Thanks, everyone. I think we have to leave it there time-wise. Thanks to our panel of speakers. Thank you for joining us. Thanks.